You know that quiet moment when you wake up and realize the world hasn't noticed you yet. No messages lighting up your screen, no voices filling the space around you, no expectations waiting for you to step into them. The light is soft, almost careful, as if it knows not to rush you. The room feels suspended, like time hasn't fully clicked on yet. Your phone is silent. Your body hasn't tightened. Your mind hasn't started scanning for problems, replaying conversations, or preparing explanations. And for a few minutes, sometimes longer, if circumstances allow, it feels like nothing bad can reach you here. Emotionally, you feel safer. Not happy, not excited, just unthreatened. There's something deeply grounding about that state, a sense that you haven't been asked to be anyone yet. You're not late, you're not behind, you're not disappointing anyone. You're simply existing without effort, without judgment. You're not reacting. You're not performing. You're not bracing. You're just here. And sometimes, in that silence, you can feel yourself coming back online, not as a role, not as a function, but as a body breathing, a mind settling, a self remembering its edges. The quiet doesn't fix anything. It simply reminds you that you don't need fixing right now. That before the noise, before the labels, before the demands, you were already enough just being here. But once the day begins, something subtle shifts. A loud sound cuts through the quiet. A rushed voice enters the space. Someone speaks to you before you've fully arrived inside your own body. And without consciously deciding to, your chest tightens. Your shoulders rise. Your breathing changes. Your nervous system flips a switch. From rest to readiness. From safety to scanning. From presence to protection. Suddenly, you're no longer inside the moment you're managing it. That's why morning silence feels so different from night silence. At night, quiet can feel heavy. Like unresolved thoughts are closer, like emotions echo louder when there's nothing to distract you. But in the morning, silence feels like protection, like a buffer zone, a thin but meaningful layer between you and everything that's about to ask something of you. It's the quiet before impact, not the quiet after exhaustion. And this isn't about being introverted. It's not about avoiding people. It's not about laziness, weakness, or a lack of drive. It's about what your nervous system learned, slowly, quietly, over time. For some people, quiet mornings are the only time they feel untouchable, before expectations arrive, before responsibilities show up unannounced, before the world starts assigning them roles they didn't consciously agree to. In those early hours, silence equals control. No one is watching. No one is evaluating. No one is asking you to be emotionally available. You don't have to explain yourself. You don't have to manage anyone else's mood. You don't have to soften your tone, adjust your energy, or prove your worth through usefulness. You're allowed to exist without being needed. Often, this comes from a life where demands arrived suddenly, where noise meant responsibility, where rest could be interrupted at any moment. The body learned a rule it never forgot. Before everyone else is awake, nothing can be taken from me. So you protect that time, not consciously, instinctively. Others crave quiet because their minds need time to arrive. In the morning, emotional defenses are naturally lower. The brain is still transitioning from the internal world dreams, sensations, intuition into external engagement. So sudden noise, conversation, or decision-making doesn't feel neutral. It feels invasive. It feels like being pulled outward before you've gathered yourself inward. Silence gives these people a gradual transition, a chance to orient themselves emotionally, a chance to feel where they are before responding to anyone else, a chance to build internal posture before the world leans on them. They don't need silence all day. They just need space to assemble themselves first. Then there are people who need quiet because they're anxious even if they don't consciously label it that way. They wake up with a low hum of tension already present. Nothing specific is wrong, but the day feels fragile, full of unknowns, conversations that could go badly, tasks that could spiral, situations that could drain them in ways they don't yet have words for. As long as the world stays quiet, nothing unpredictable can happen. Silence becomes a pause button, a delay, a way to stay in the last moment where everything still feels contained. They move slowly through the morning, not because they're tired, but because speed makes their anxiety spike. Quiet isn't avoidance, it's regulation. It's the nervous system trying to keep things manageable. And then there are those who feel everything deeply. They don't just hear words. They feel tone, tension, emotional undercurrents that others overlook. Being around people is never neutral for them. It's constant input, constant calibration. In the morning, their sensitivity is at its peak. Their boundaries are softer. Their empathy is wide open. Silence becomes a shield. It's the only time their emotional energy belongs fully to them before it starts flowing outward toward everyone else. Later in the day, they might feel drained without knowing exactly why. They might love people deeply and still crave solitude, especially early. Quiet mornings are the only time they're not absorbing. And then there are people whose quiet mornings are shaped by grief, even if they'd never call it that. Not always grief for someone they lost. Sometimes it's grief for a life that didn't unfold the way they imagined, a relationship that changed them, a version of themselves that no longer exists. Silence gives those feelings room. No pressure to be okay. No need to explain. No obligation to move on before they're ready. In the quiet, emotions don't have to be rushed into productivity or hidden behind small talk. They're allowed to surface gently, to linger, to fade, and return on their own timeline. Quiet mornings aren't about avoiding life. They're about nervous systems that learned when it was safest to breathe. They're about slowness when overwhelm was common. Silence when noise once meant demand. Stillness when being on came at a cost. So if you protect that quiet, it doesn't mean you're broken, antisocial, or fragile. That silence isn't emptiness. It's your nervous system saying, here, you're allowed to exist without effort. And sometimes, the safest place we know isn't a person, a habit, or a destination. It's the silence before the world asks us to be someone.
If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Hit the like button if this helped you.